At May Dolly Arts, title card says so. I do crafts to avoid remembering. 2008 was not like 5 years ago. It was 15. Let's make stuff. Back in the day, I was a hardcore goth. Chains, ripped tights, the tall mohawk, I had the whole package. Here's my prom picture for reference. I was originally going to make a goth-themed doll, but I kept adding more. And more. And more. Until I drew this. It's still gothy? I don't know. It shifted a demon queen of the dead. I can imagine Persephone a few hundred years later helping rule over the dead in this. That's hot. And here are our willing victims. Totally not held hostage. Very voluntary. Versus this fairy. She has this hard thing in her mushroom, which seems like a pain in the ass to sit on. Literally. She has this hard plastic rod in her mushroom. It must be She has this hard thing in her mushroom that seems like a pain in the ass to sit on. And here we have a guy. He's a skeleton. He's dead. And he's a guy. And his foot fell off. Typical dead people problems. Oh look, both his feet pop off. I managed to pull him apart with my bare hands. How sad is that? Glad he was a dollar. Now, before we dunk her in the tank, we gotta cover her up because I don't feel like messing with wet plastic today. Ooh, out of context, that sounds bad. Could you imagine being this relaxed? The first step is to scalp them. First, we're gonna put her hair in boiling water. That way we can make it nice, soft, mendable, and it actually made it kind of silky smooth. I didn't even do the conditioner treatment, it just made it a lot smoother. Probably because her hair is still technically new. I'm just straightening it out with my fingers, getting all preset curls out, and now we're going to make some nice soup. We put her arms and legs in there, her corset. Now I'm brushing out her hair. That way when I put in the curlers, it's not nappy. Which it goes in pretty smooth, and when it cools down, because they were putting the curlers hot, they're going to stay curled. Now we're going to drill some holes in his head. Don't we just love all the safety that's going on? Like, I'm surprised I didn't drill a hole in my hand. I'm going to have some better eye shapes, that way they don't look surprised all the time. You know, we don't need them looking like they came out of the corpse bride. Making them very feminine. I was going for more of an almond shape, but then I kept messing up and they just kept getting bigger and bigger, so she looks a lot more awake than what I intended. Now we're gonna wipe off the factory paint. Just a little bit. We'll keep the stuff under the eyes in the nose. I can work with that, but the rest of it had to go. I'm using acetone for this. Now I can start applying some powder colors. Gonna add some pink on the cheeks because it's girly. You know, blue used to be the girl's color. You're like, how weird is that? Like, it just swapped. It's like when men used to wear heels and now women wear heels. Now we're adding some dark shadows. I'm using a nice dark bronze color for this because we don't want it completely black. We want it to look like a natural shadow. And I'm putting some shadows in its teeth, or at least the spacing in between the teeth. Get the little grooves to emphasize that it is a skull. And I messed up. Put some acetone on there. Give her those Angelina Jolie cheekbones. I'm adding some eyeliner. Anyone else thinking about Miley Cyrus right now? Here we have her cute little face. I'm gonna add that skull to her face. I'm sorry, honey. Oh! Oh, the brutality. Oh, that's nasty. Look at her go. Yeah, that looks very safe. Whatever I do in these videos, don't do at home. I'm not a professional, and trust me, neither are you. But make Dolly Arts, we do crafts all the time. Yeah, but you've never had to go to the emergency room because you cut your thumb. You were trying to add ribbon to some flip-flops and you cut your thumb with an X-Acto knife. Now I'm lighting some plastic on fire inside of the house to access her eyeballs. In case you're wondering, yes, that did smell delicious. Kind of smelled like Domino's. And here I'm just trying to figure out where to cut on the skull face. I did take a break to put her body back together. Now, here's the sucky part. It did kind of dye the top of her thighs because I did try to dye her lower upper thigh part there. It didn't work out. But I'll fix it later. Here I'm using epoxy so I can glue it to the face, or I guess glue the base to the rest of the head. I'm gluing the face to the face. I also went inside with epoxy, so hopefully those eyes stay in there a long time. I secured it with rubber bands. I made this cute corset. It has teeth, which is actually just a charm from a bracelet, and then I added some chains and some beads. This is literally just a piece of pleather, some Velcro, and some jewelry stuff. Gonna put that to the side because now we're gonna be making her headband. I'm just using some hot glue because I have lost the patience for it to fully cure with like super glue and other things like that. It's quick, it's easy, it's cheap, but don't expect it to stay in one piece in about a year. I'm just saying. Securing some lace. Now I did take a Dremel tool to sand down the headband, that way it was sort of rough. So hopefully it'll hold the glue better. So maybe it'll last more than a year. That'd be nice. Now I'm adding a little bit of this meshy fabric and then some fabric roses that I dyed black. Because in the reference picture she is wearing a headband. Here I'm taking acetone to her boots to remove the lacy colors and the little flower decals. I started losing my patience, so at some point I end up just dipping the entire boot in the cap of the acetone bottle. Using some Gorilla Glue, I'm going to secure that little bracelet charm to the laces that I brutally ripped off earlier, just to dye black, which didn't even turn black, it turned purple, but you know what? We're going with it. Because all that epoxy that I inhaled earlier gave me a wicked headache. Now I'm making her earrings. We take a big loop, we add a little loop, and then we add a cross. And then I take some metal wire so I can secure it into the doll's head later. If you're wondering how I did this, I just took a thinner metal wire and I kind of sewed it in through the holes that are in the hoops. There's one. Oh, it's taken those stubby fingers a long time to come up with number 2. Look at them go. The little sausages are at work. With this piece of shiny black fabric, I sewed a little pocket into the side of it so I can put the elastic through. I safety pinned one end of the elastic, that way I can wiggle it through that little hole. And after fiddling with it for a moment, you can secure the ends. Just knot the thread a couple of times, and then I like to burn the ends of the thread, that way it doesn't come undone. Mostly because I think my thread is made out of plastic. Seriously, that shit melts. That's what she looks like so far with her face on. She's got her curlers back up. And I'm painting a base coat on the horns. The sad part is, this is kind of where my camera ran out of room. So I thought I was recording me putting on the second coat, which was a gray coat on the horns, but it did not catch any of that, nor did it catch me applying the horns to her head. The disappointment is heavy with this child.
Pretty sure that's what my mom said about me in middle school.
I'm just kidding. It was around senior year when she lost hope. And that's what she looks like with her horns that I didn't record me putting on. This is her outfit put together. Let's see how it looks on.